What is happening, guys? Welcome back to Redbeard's Garage, and this is a 35 horse Vanguard Briggs & Stratton big block V-twin from Small Engine Warehouse. We're going to be mounting this today on a Kandi Spyder buggy that we started modifying with a bush hog differential. Now, the differential can be found in the links in the video description, as well as this engine, and they're all from Small Engine Warehouse. The special thing about that differential is it has high, low, neutral, and reverse, and it's super strong, and we think it's going to handle the power that this big block V-twin pushes out. Now, I wanted to go over real quick before getting into today's video why we chose this engine and why we wouldn't use something like a motorcycle engine. Now, we've talked about this a ton in the past, but we just wanted to say it because we know we're going to get comments on why don't we use crotch rocket engines. And we have been collecting them over the years. We have several motorcycles sitting outside that we're going to be using on builds, and we're going to compare them to stuff like this. Now, this is a big block V-twin. So if you was to compare this to a Predator 670, that is a small bore, small stroke, small block. It's basically two 212 engines-ish put together to make a 670cc. This is like you took two 420s and put together and made a big block. This is a big bore, big stroke. And what you get with that is big torque. This thing will make 60 foot-pounds of torque at around 3,000 to 3,500 RPMs. And that's what we want when we're on the trails on these buggies. Want a lot of torque, and we want it to come in very quick. Now, if you look at the specs of, let's say, a 2008 GSXR Suzuki crotch rocket engine, that's going to make about 125 horsepower, which is great to hear when this only makes 35 horsepower stock. But the difference is the torque. This will make 60 foot-pounds at around 3,500. That engine makes around 45 to 50 foot-pounds of torque at 11,000 RPMs. So you're going to have to rev those engines extremely high to get any power out of them. You're not going to have the drivability like you would have out of something like this. This is also very easy to work on, very easy to mount. It's air cooled. We've never had an issue with one of these engines overheating. You can beat on these all day long without worrying about coolant overflowing or a leaky coolant. As long as the engine's spinning, the fan's spinning, which is cooling the heads, stays cool all day long. Another thing is we can build this engine to get over 100 foot-pounds of torque out of it and probably about 70 horsepower. And that's going to make it super reliable at higher RPMs. So on our buggy, this is going to be the best option for ease of use. We can mount it. Everything, the wiring harness to setting everything up is super simple and easy to maintain. And that's the reason we chose to go with this Vanguard 35 horse engine. Now, it's going to be stock at first, but we are going to do a full all-out build with pistons, rods. We're going to port and mill the heads to get the power up even higher on this two-seater chassis. Now, if you're using one of these big block V-twins, you'll notice that the crankshaft is very large on these engines, way bigger than 1 inch. I think this one is 1 7/16 or something like that. So you do have to find a special CVT setup because there's not a lot of CVTs out there for an engine like this. And that's why we went with this Comet 1190 CVT. This is made for a ride-on concrete trowel. We've used this in the past on our 999cc Duramax build. This CVT works awesome. If you remember, ours had ramp stops. Because this is on a piece of equipment, they don't want you hauling. It was a big concrete trowel, so they don't want you flying, trying to refinish concrete. So they put ramp stops in the bell so the rollers could only roll so far. We modified ours, and we was able, on a 4,000 RPM governor engine, we was able to get 61 miles per hour on the straightaways on our buggy, which is perfect. That's the perfect range for these engines. If you can get 60 or 70 topped out, that's going to perform awesome in the woods with the 27-inch tire. So we're going to go with around an 8-to-1 gearing ratio on this setup. Now, this CVT will be on Small Engine Warehouse very soon. So if you have one of these larger crankshaft engines, you'll be able to buy it without the ramp stops, which Comet has set up on this CVT for us already. So we didn't have to modify any. We can just slap this right on and get it onto the buggy. Now, we also got the matching driven for this setup, and they went ahead and made it for the right bore for that bush hog differential that we got from Small Engine Warehouse as well. So we'll be able to slide it on, and this was the piece we was needing to go further with this build, because now we have to mount this big block V-twin on that chassis, get the belts lined up with the differential. Once that's done, we can do all the jack shaft to get our gearing correct. We can move on to building the roll cage. So let's get this pulley installed on this 35 horse big block and then get it installed on the chassis. So I've had this thing forever. Vegas Kart sent us a bunch of parts years ago because we was going to do a golf cart. Problem is we couldn't find a golf cart that was cheap enough, so we didn't ever use it. I'm still debating whether using this, but the beauty about this is we have about 4 inches, 3 inches of slide of our engine front to back. Not that that's important, because we'll measure center to center on our pulleys, and then we can tell Comet what pulleys we're running, and they'll tell us the exact belt. So that's one thing that's super handy. They know the math, so you get the exact belt and you don't have to worry about any kind of tension stuff. So the engine doesn't really have to move other than fitting in this confined area, because that thing is huge. It's thick. And I mean, it gets real wide up top. It's kind of like me. I started out real skinny, but I grew from Despicable Me and I get real wide. So in a windstorm, I got to hunker down because I'm real top heavy. But we're going to run 2 rails, front to back, 1 1/4 square tubing, notch them into this and on each side. And then we can thread holes so this can slide side to side for belt alignment. And then the engine slides forward to back if we use this plate.
Lift with your legs.
Mister, you're really strong.
That's great. The little cap.
It is a monster up there.
And I know people's going to say that this is going to throw off the center of gravity of the buggy. It's not, because what do you think this weighs? 150 maybe? So the bore is 3.366. That's how big the piston is. The stroke is 3.4. So almost a 3.5 inch piston, not quite, but it's about 3 3/8 piston size.
You're good at math.
Thank you.
Jeepers, mister, you're really good at math.
It does not tell the weight. So I know we have 100 pounds up here in the chassis, but we have, especially if I'm driving it, you know, I'm high 2s. I know, where do I put it? But if Lonnie and his wife, they're the same as one human being in my size. But still, that's 300 pounds if you 2 was in there, a little less, but 300 pounds down low. Plus the battery, we can make the gas tank low. It's a lot of load. Don't overthink it. Everybody said my buggy was going to be top heavy because the engine was mounted up so far. Yeah. So when we was moving this engine on, we got a ding, and what's his name? Where's his name at? Ryan Stein. That's 2 common sounding names. Change it. Ryan Stein just ordered a small block MSD coil from us. So thank you. I don't want to show your information. Yes. His address is. But we appreciate everybody's support on the website, and thank you, Ryan. We're going to throw you in a free oil dipstick just because you're on camera. But thank you for supporting RBGcars.com and buying your good old parts from good old boys. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know what you're saying.
No. It's because you don't shop at RBGcars.com. You can buy 4 coil packs for that Escape. Pop it up.
Shoot this thing up.
Okay, now we got to do some measuring. We'll probably cut the plate next. We got to design a plate, cut it, slap it on. Milwaukee's are dying. Bless their hearts, I've had them for years. That's the newer one too. Unreal.
Do you have spray for it?
Pray for it?
Spray.
Oh, I should pray for it. I found it doesn't matter. Both my Milwaukee's are dying. So we've used lubricant, and it doesn't make a difference. show of the work shoes of the week. Brunt boots are the most comfortable boots I have ever worn. Would you agree?
Oh yeah.
Lonnie's looks like a bag of concrete, but because he got the light colored boots, he messed up. I got the dark boys, so mine look clean. Now let's look over at our filmers.
No.
Tootsies.
We're not.
Let's take a gander. She's
Not
in
for-
open-toed shoes,
No.
sandals.
Not for free.
Yeah. Whoa. You got Vegas. Bigfinder.com/backpages.
Was.
That's better.
Ooh. Next piece. Ronnie McDonnie.
You got it.
Going to throwing a sparkler in your face. So that gives us ample room for washers and whatnot underneath. So I guess we need to set the engine on, put 4 bolts in it, just to make sure we have it like we may have to shift it a little bit. And we can put a washer, a couple washers max behind that pulley. I don't want to move this one out since it's a smaller shaft. While this big opening's here, we're going to put a piece of 1-inch square tubing. I don't have any more of this. We got to put a piece in there to weld to that. So,
Strength.
I wish they built these things.
Jeepers, mister, you're really strong.
Okay.
Tilty boy.
We got to kind of pick it up though. We can't drag it. 1, 7, 16.
Oh, your plate's sideways.
That's pretty dang good. Just need to make sure. Okay, now the engine plate is mounted, and these bars are 3/4 welded. They're welded on the sides and the top. The supports, we put 1-inch square tubing in there. Didn't film that for some odd reason.
Beck was on break.
Beck was on break.
No, I was momming.
That's break.
Okay.
So that's
it.
where she'll be about. It'll probably be all the way towards the back like that. That's good.
That's pretty dang good.
Yeah, that's what we wanted. Just yeesh. It looks stupid, you know, the way it's sitting. No roll cage and stuff. This looks like.
But with the roll cage, you can imagine.
Yeah, it'll be covered and smothered like Salisbury steak.
Very nice.
So back in the day, Evolution sent us their saw, the chop saw we use all the time. But they also sent us, and we've used it before on the channel, but it's been a minute. They sent us this mag drill. If you don't know what a mag drill is, then you need to get out of my garage. But it uses Magnix. Now this is solid, and we can drill huge holes. These bits are expensive. I mean, this is an investment, but it goes up to 1 inch. You can get these in different sizes. So we're using the 5/8 because these pillow block bearings that we're mounting the jack shaft can hold a maximum of 5/8 bearings. So now this thing freaking just eats. smell this, it smells like vanilla.
Okay.
No. One more hole. Takes a second for the.
So much better than stepping up bits.
Oh, and it's such a perfect hole.
Did you ask him if he wanted to do it and then you did it?
He said, "Go ahead."
Yeah. I did one already.
You know, women in the workplace is just always trying to start drama. Here we are working together.
As a team.
As a team, yeah. I was like, "You want to do it?" He's like, "No, you go ahead." So we have this bearing set up we made. It's just a piece of plate, and we had to weld on another piece of 3/4 to raise up the pillow block bearing. So the 1 1/4 race card axle, we got a chrome ollie 1 1/4 race card axle that's hollow, so it would clear this. So now we can have a pillow block that mounts on each side that keeps it dead in line of these pivot points, because as long as we keep our jack shaft here, it's not going to change the chain tension through travel, which is awesome. We are going to be building new trailing arms later, but these will work for now for testing and stuff. I know we got huge gaps right there. It's just where this factory tube had to land. How we're going to fix this is we're going to lay a piece of 1/4 solid rod in there, and I'm literally going to just use it as filler. You know what I mean? Like to weld. So that'll be close. I mean, it'll be perfectly fine. And then we can panel all this up and sheet metal. The sprockets we're running. We're having to do a complex chain gearing ratio setup because this is so low geared, this differential from small engine warehouse. If we was running 33s, that'd be okay. We're only running 27. So I'm going to get this plate tacked in because we do have it fully ready to go. So we're not going to test this yet because we got to build the cups that hold the sprockets on the rear. So now we're going to work on finishing up the gas tank mount, and because we got to go get some chain and things like that. I can kind of square it up with the working through here. basically, that's how it'll be out there. That's sick, dude. And it'll be plated around it, so there'll be no, like, this will be 1/8 inch that's removable maybe, or maybe a 12 inch, I don't know. So you can't get a stick stabbing in it. Then the hole underneath is going to be boxed off, you know. So we keep a bunch of like sheet metal scraps down here because they have a little bit of like random area. So when we take a sheet that we've already cut quite a bit and we need to cut something large and put a fresh sheet, I'll take a plasma cutter, a hand torch, and I'll cut around the sheet to keep pieces just like this. So what we did is we have to cut 2 new diff mounting brackets to raise the diff about 5/8 of an inch to make a Comet belt work. So we're going to cut 1 flange on this and 1 flange on this because I made the file. I could just go make the file in 2 separate pieces if I wanted to, but basically it's going to cut on this side of the line for 1 and 1. So we're going to see how this will work out. See how good it works. Bam. It works perfect. If I would have made these in 2 separate files, like I was saying, it wouldn't have been an issue. But
here's the issue.
I was like, well, we have this scrap for a reason. Now this piece can be, it has a little bit of real estate on it, but that's scrap. So I'm going to really quickly pull off the mounts that we had on the diff, break those off, and get the new ones installed to lift this differential up 5/8 of an inch to use that Comet belt. So I know we blocked you a couple times, but there's a new mount. This is just sitting in there. I'm thinking possibly of cutting out this tube on each side and then maybe bracing this back up to this corner or something, because we got to get the diff out. The diff will probably come out the way it is by leaning forward, but this rail in particular, because we wanted to center. So it's just how this worked out. That's one of the diffs off center, is because we wanted the engine to be center on the chassis because it's so much weight. That's why the diff is to one side, and it doesn't matter other than this sprocket. Honestly, we could deal with it and leave the tube. Just trying to figure it out. So we're gonna get this tacked in, then we can try out the belt Comet sent us and see if it's gonna work now. So Comet sent us out a 300658 Comet belt, and it does have a side that's for the engine. This is for the 1190. It's 1 7/16, I think, inch wide, so it's a big fat belt. This is what a side-by-side would have. So this belt will literally last forever-ish. So we lifted it's going to be tight getting on, of course. Basically, I can actually lean this engine over, make it a lot easier. I mean, that's probably right, but what I'm looking at here is keeping this out of the
engine
area.
Cockpit.
Or, yeah. But this is a huge cockpit. If you
can move the seats forward.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, I mean, it's crazy. I don't remember these buggies having this much room. Me and Lonnie was talking about that. But like, I'm stretched completely out. Of course I would be up higher, but that wouldn't change my distance. So I think it's gonna be fine. We can build a certain type cage that's maybe further forward where it starts slanting back, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then has a wall behind it. And then we're gonna leave the steering wheel like this, so I'm like, hey, hold it dry for a minute. I wonder if you could drive like that. You think?
Try twisting. No. Huh? You don't have any leverage.
We can actually bolt that back up.
That engine looks huge up there.
It is. It's massive.
The light is glistening off your head. Bald. So Lonnie grabbed his razor seats, which has been sitting under a tree. They've gotten pretty crusty, so we're coming up with mounts
for the floorboard. This is a center tube, which is not centered right now. We got to clean the tube, and we're going to put that center tube in. Then we've got angle iron. Lonnie's drilling them out right now to mount the seats to, and then we'll see if there's anything else we can do. Look at Lonnie.
Waiting on you.
So, Lonnie.
What up?
The big news is, you know I don't hold secrets. This is your buggy. All this is yours.
Dang. That's big.
We've been talking
I
like...
I was like, dang, I really want this engine.
I was telling Lonnie, like, it's going to be so long before we can get to your deuce because we have to fulfill, like, you know, stuff with companies, and we wanted to use this massive Briggs from Small Engine Warehouse, and we started mounting this up, and the deuce Lonnie was using deuces are just very cramped chassis. So Lonnie's getting this with a fully built Briggs. We're fully building this hog. We got a company that's making rods, pistons. We're milling the head. It's going to be over 100 foot-pounds of torque, most likely. But I was going to hold out until we got powder coated and everything. I can't do it. Becca's like, well, maybe it'll motivate him more and stuff. So that's why I was like, we're going to use your wheels off your buggy and your seat.
I was used to just picking mine to death.
And so that's the reason we're building this. So Lonnie will be on this at the meetup. That's a guarantee.
Come on.
So that's why we're taking Lonnie's Razor seats and we'll clean them up. We got some boat cleaner that cleans these seats up real nice. Hopefully it'll be powder coated before the meetup. But basically, Lonnie doesn't have to pay for anything. We got a lithium battery going on it. It's freaking like a $200 battery. FOA shocks, everything. That's why I was like, would you want a radio in your buggy?
Yeah.
But it's going to be sick. I thought of this. Huh?
That just like made my day.
I told Becca, I was like, I want to tell him so bad so he knows. It would have been cool to surprise it like, oh, here's the keys. But I can't do it. I like to bring joy to people, freak. Sue me. Take me to court and freaking sue me.
You are the worst secret keeper.
I am. Well, unless it's a secret.
Yeah.
When it's a gift, I'm like, Christmas, we'll do it in November when stuff comes in. So
I was pretty proud of you with my Christmas present this year. You
held out
until you gave it to me.
This was too big though, so that's so this is Lonnie's Deuce 2 because we're not doing the Deuce. We're kind of tired of Deuces. Or I am. I'm tired of building them.
And they are cramped.
These front ends are decent. We got to widen it, but they have a very good. This is one of the best buggies I would say to buy to build because you can get them so cheap. You can find these for. I think this one was like a couple $100. Got it for $250. Yeah. So yeah, congratulations on your brand new car. All right, we're back to freaking work. Back on to the side. See, that's nice. You can go way up.
Could almost put the steering wheel back here. That'd be uncomfortable though. Way out here, don't you?
Well, we weigh so much. And we gotta have brake master cylinder room. That far as it'll go?
That's the last. No.
Well, that's great because it's completely off the back wall. And we're gonna have a tube going right through here to separate the engine from the cabin. You know what I mean? So that works out great. So we got a lot done on the Briggs buggy today. Make sure to check out the links for that differential, the Briggs engine, and a bunch of the parts we're going to be using on this chassis. It was awesome to surprise Lonnie. I really wanted to wait until it was done, but I just wanted to give him some good news in the meantime and to know that we're not neglecting his build, that this is his build. We had talked a couple weeks ago about switching up from a Deuce, and he was fully for it because he likes a Deuce a lot, but there is a lot of limitations in a Deuce where this one has a ton of room. We don't have to build a chassis, and we're trying to use these go-karts that you guys can find on Marketplace and kind of, you know, replicate our builds and stuff. So this was an awesome setup to go with. So let us know what you think. I'm actually going to add a little bit more area to the fuel cell and add an access panel where we can put a fuel sending unit, like where we can have fuel gauge and foam fill the fuel tank, because we're going to be moving the dash back a little bit, but that'll be in the next episode. So next episode, we're going to be building a roll cage, extending the dash, getting the steering hooked up. We're going to put electric power steering in it for him. I have one sitting on the shelf that I'm going to give to his build. And then the video after that, we'll probably be doing all the suspension. We got to widen the front by about 3 or 4 inches or so to fit the 27, so they can clear the chassis while turning. Then we'll build longer swing arms on the back, or trailing arms, to get him even more suspension. So let us know what you think about Lonnie's buggy. It was awesome to surprise him, and it's because of you guys watching the videos and supporting the channel that we're able to do this. So I'm really excited to give back to Lonnie for all the help he's given me over the years, and just give him a thank you for being there for us. So thank you guys so much for watching the video. Check out the links in the video description. We love you, and God bless.